The United States of America eagerly awaits for their new president. The battle between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump intensifies even as voters gear up to elect the leader of the world's second-largest democracy. Now, while election fever has gripped the entire USA, much like the country, the Trump versus Harris debate has divided America's sporting fraternity as well. The biggest star to endorse one of the presidential candidates is NBA legend and LA Lakers forward LeBron James, who's backing Democrat Kamala Harris.
What are we even talking about here? When I think about my kids and my family and how they will grow up, the choice is clear to me. Vote Kamala Harris.
Now, LeBron James' comments, of course, do not come as a shocker because as much as the LA Lakers star has backed Democrats in the past, including Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden, LeBron has a long-standing feud with Harris's rival, Donald Trump. It, of course, all started when Donald Trump, in his previous tenure, criticized NFL players for taking the knee during the U.S. national anthem. That was to show their protest against racism. The comments didn't sit too well with LeBron, and who even asked voters to head to the polls and questioned why Trump was at the head of affairs in the first place. And if this instance wasn't enough, Donald Trump uninviting basketball legend Steph Curry and Golden State Warriors team from visiting the White House back in 2017 after their NBA championship had angered LeBron even more, who called Trump this. It's no surprise that Golden State Warriors star Steph Curry too is backing Kamala Harris this election.
And that unity on and off the court reminded us all that together we can do all things and continue to inspire the world. That's why I believe that Kamala, as president, could bring that unity back and continue to move our country forward. This is about preserving hope and belief in our country.
And it isn't just LeBron James and Steph Curry who are backing Kamala Harris for president. Former stars like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson are also rooting for her. Over in the women's basketball, WNBA's rising star Caitlin Clark may not have openly come out backing Harris, but she still gave a hint to her political allegiance. The WNBA Rookie of the Year liked one of the endorsement posts from American singer Taylor Swift, giving us quite the indication of who she will be backing this time. One of the reasons why the basketball fraternity in particular is backing Harris is because of what happened just some months ago. Not too long time back, Trump was under fire when NBA side Miami Heat defended the Haitian community. This after Donald Trump accused the Haitians of eating dogs, which led to the community facing hate from all over. Trump was cornered by Miami Heat when they defended the Haitians, but Trump seems to have found supporters in other disciplines. The NFL world seems to be backing Donald Trump to win the election. NFL's backing isn't just restricted to social media, though. San Francisco 49ers player Nick Bosa wore a MAGA hat after his side's match against Dallas Cowboy. MAGA, a term which means Make America Great Again, is a phrase used by Donald Trump in his presidential campaign. So clearly, the players are using every medium possible to show their support to Donald Trump. Over at the UFC, CEO Dana White has been a long-time Trump supporter who backed the former president in 2016 and 2020, even calling the Republican resilient.
You take any of the greatest fighters of all time, Trump is number one. The most resilient human being that I've ever met in my life. He could be doing a million other things, but is running for president because he loves the United States.
But this is what separates USA's political and sporting culture from that of the rest of the world. Sports has often functioned with the idea of keeping politics away from it, which is the case in most parts all over the world. Athletes do not openly back political parties or ideologies during elections particularly. There are They are sworn to silence. And even when they do come out and say something, they are criticized for their actions and for their gestures, like French football captain and Real Madrid star Kylian Mbappe, who found himself on the receiving end of criticism when he asked young French citizens to vote against extremists. Mbappe was heavily criticized by French far-right political party National Rally, who even asked Mbappe to focus on sports and stay away from politics. But unlike Europe, athletes speaking about politics is quite common in America. It isn't just the elections. In the past, American athletes have voiced their opinion on some strong political matters as well. Boxing legend and American sensation Muhammad Ali was vocal about America's war in Vietnam back in 1967. Ali was asked to fight the war, but he of course refused to be drafted into the US military. He called the war an act of genocide. In addition to Ali, American sprinter Jesse Owens voiced his opinion about the racial discrimination American athletes of color had to endure in the 1930s. He of course started the movement of taking a stance against racism. And while these gestures were for fight against discrimination and war, the American sporting fraternity has since then continued to speak about political matters, which is why the heavy endorsements for both Kamala Harris and Donald Trump proves how invested athletes are and rightfully should be in deciding who the future president of their country should be. Of course, and given the fan following and the kind of social media presence these athletes have, it's bound to leave an impact on the elections, because if these celebrities, superstars in their right, are endorsing presidential candidates, they are influencing voters and voting patterns. These stars are role models in the country, which may as well end up playing a bit of a role in deciding which way this election might swing.
Washington is all set for a presidential battle like no other.
In less than 90 days, it's either going to be him or me sitting in the Oval Office.
Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump.
All we want is one simple thing: get out on Tuesday and go.
A vice president versus a former president. As we head towards election night, Vantage will be live from the heart of the action. Speaking to voters in this final stretch.
I'm still very undecided.
Very close presidential race.
Tracking the campaigns as they make the last push. From exclusive ground reports to in-depth analysis, this is your one-stop destination for the presidential race. Join us on this special edition of Vantage, live from the White House in Washington, D.C.